By now, I'm sure you have seen all the different food shortages we are experiencing here in the United States. And experts are now telling us that food shortages could potentially be worse in 2023. But that's not it. We've seen baby formula in short supply for the past year. We've seen butter tough to get for the past 4 months. And just recently, eggs have been impossible to get in certain locations across the United States. But again, experts say that it could potentially get worse. But let's actually break down why experts are predicting that food shortages are going to get worse and food prices could potentially go up. First off, one of the things that we are already anticipating is mass layoffs across every industry. This means that businesses that do work with food are going to see layoffs. This means quality control is going to take a hit. And when quality control takes a hit, guess what? We see recalls. Just today, Wegmans actually had to go and recall spinach mix, microgreens, sweet pea leaves, and cat grass, all due to the possibility of a salmonella contamination. Again, that's a recall, and it's all because of quality control. Now, one thing I can tell you in this specific instance is that quality control was able to find this. So in some cases, we're going to see recalls because of quality control, because they're not able to catch this fast enough. But here's the worry, is that if we see quality control take a hit and they don't have as many employees in that area, guess what? We could see more products go out. And in that case, we may see thousands and thousands and thousands of packages of spinach or salad or whatever have to come back or be disposed of simply because it is potentially not safe to eat. But keep in mind that this is not an isolated incident. We have seen other stores that had to do recalls as well. For instance, Costco. Costco, about 4 months ago, they had to recall frozen chicken patties, and they recalled about 148,000 pounds of frozen chicken patties, all because of a possible foreign matter contamination. But that's not all. Farmers are also worried about stuff that could potentially happen in 2023. For instance, they're worried about inflation taking hold of the industry and for fertilizer. They're worried about a worsening drought situation across the entire United States. And they're worried about interest rates continuing to rise, which we are expecting is going to happen because that is exactly what the Federal Reserve has told us the past 2 or 3 months. And one of the worries is that all these things combined could actually cause farmers to just stop harvesting for 1 or 2 seasons. And if this happens, it would be much harder to get back into the industry, but at the same time, it creates a shortage for the time being. Now, I have a friend down in California, and he runs his own farm, and he plants different crops. Well, he had something to say, and this is what he had to say. Yo, it has been bad here. Fertilizer has gone up so much, I struggle to even make a profit. And then what makes things worse is that distributors want to buy my product at a set price before I even grow it. The problem here is that if fertilizer rates go up, I already locked in my price and I may lose money. Essentially, that is what happened all of this past year. And this weather, man, how can anybody run an outdoor business with extreme heat and extreme cold all year round like we've had this past year? Honestly, I'm going to give it 1 additional year. If things don't get better by then, I will put my farm on the market. Thanks for all your help, and hopefully this sheds some light as to what we are going through down here. So as you can see, this is serious. Farmers in California are struggling, but it's not just in California. Now, I am a little surprised that he didn't bring up the water shortage because when I talked to him last time, which was about 3 or 4 months ago, that was the big concern, was the water shortage. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that this hasn't been fixed, but this also means that fertilizer, what he's selling his produce at, these are now becoming bigger problems than the drought. And the drought, in my opinion, is one of the scariest issues. And I've talked about this multiple times on my other channel as well. If you don't know what channel that is, it's called Adam Snyder. It's here on YouTube. You can go check that out. But I mentioned this in the past, that shortages that we are going to see this impact the less expensive products first and the most. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that everybody's attempting to save money. Everybody. This means the lower income, the middle income, and the wealthiest people here in the United States, all trying to save money. Let's just take a loaf of bread, for example. You have the lower income, middle income, and the wealthier shoppers out there shopping for the exact same items, all looking to save money, right? Well, let's say we go into a grocery store to buy a loaf of bread. We have a loaf of bread for $4.99, for $3.99, and $1.49. Guess what? What bread do you think you're going to pick if the bread is pretty much the same? It's all wheat bread. All wheat, nothing different but the packages and the name. Most people, according to multiple studies, during times of high inflation and potential recession, every single person is going to choose the $1.49 loaf of bread first, as long as it's still available. Then, and only after it is sold out, they would go to the next cheapest, which is $3.99. But in no instance is somebody spend $4.99 on a loaf of bread if there's two other cheaper options. And this is exactly what we've been seeing across the United States for the past 6 months to a year, is we are seeing shortages and we are seeing empty shelves in supermarkets, all because people are going for the lower priced items. And I told you this was gonna happen. As we see inflation tick up, we're gonna see people pull in their savings, try to save money as much as possible, which means they're not gonna buy the extravagant brands. They're not gonna buy the more expensive products. They're gonna go for the cheaper items, which essentially is what has happened this entire time. Now, my expectation is over the next 6 months, and this is when experts are predicting we will dip into a recession, that my expectation is that once this happens, we are going to see people really rein in their savings. They're going to tighten their budget, and they're going to spend less money. They're going to spend a lot less money, which means we're going to see the lower items, the least expensive items like bread, milk, pastas, rice, things like that. We're going to see those in short supply. That's where we're going to see empty shelves here in 2023. Now, obviously, something like this is going to impact the lower and middle income households first. But, and again, at the same time, the wealthier households are going to be buying these products. But the wealthier households don't really get impacted as much as the lower income households, especially when your budget for food in a lower income household, this might be 50 to 60% of your budget, your income every single month. But for a wealthier household, this could be as little as like 2 to 5%. So again, it's not much for the wealthier individuals, but it drastically hurts the lower and middle income households. So as soon as I get more information as to what is going on regarding the food shortages and how we could potentially see this empty shelf crisis fixed in 2023, I will come back and I will share all the latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.